Sup guys, it's your boy Justin here. Welcome to another game review for Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. Today I'm reviewing the Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition for PS4. This game originally came out in 1998, which was developed by Bioware and Black Isle Entertainment. This version of the game was developed by Overhaul Games, which put out this game as a collection for PS4, which it comes with Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, and a couple of the expansions like the Black Pits, the Throne of Baal, and a more recent expansion called the Siege of Dragonspear, which a lot of people said was woke nonsense. Which, when you beat this game, the game automatically takes your party and starts up Siege of Dragonspear, which I was like, what the hell? I was confused as hell about that. Alright. Which I guess Siege of Dragonspear is supposed to be a direct sequel, so that's why. But yeah, like, well, oh yeah, like, okay, the expansions for Baldur's Gate 2 is the Throne of Baal, the Black Pits 2, Gladiators of Fae, and the main game, the Shadows of Am. So the game, so I just want to, before I start the review, I just want to say that 5 likes and at least 50 views, you can vote for the next Western RPG review. Not RPG review in general, because that's locked in. It's supposed to be Legend of Dragoon, but who knows? Right, so I just want to let you guys know. Okay, that, and there's the thing where I am a noob when it comes to isometric Western RPGs. When it comes to games like this, the only other game I've beaten that like this is Torment, Tides of Numenera, but I have played lots of these games, but this was like, I've only been like the one. This is the second isometric RPG, Western RPG I've ever been, if you don't count games like Dungeon Siege 3, Diablo 3, like games like that, right? So I am a noob when it comes to these games. So if you're looking for advice on how to beat this game, I am a noob. Don't come to me. I'll recommend a channel which this guy only plays Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, and that's Orn, who has 10.K9 subscribers, has like 375 videos. So he's the best person to go to if you want tips on how to play the game, right? So yeah, usually when I played this game, I start off as either a fighter or a wizard slayer, because wizard slayer sounds cool. And usually the final bosses in these games are wizards, which this one it's not. But I thought, you know, wizard slayer class was pretty cool. Turns out the Wizard Slayer class, according to Dalvorn, is shit, and you're better off just playing as a regular fighter, which usually I do like a roleplay build where I make like Guts from Berserk, where I make him a fighter, I give him a two-hander swords, and I go out there, right? Turns out that's a shitty build. So the recommended build, if you're going to play as a fighter, which usually in the Western RPGs, fighter is usually the easiest class to play, because you just go out there and just choppity chop away at your opponents, man. So yeah, my build that I did was a fighter who used 2 weapons, 1 longsword, 1 flail, right? Mason flail. That's the build I went for, because that was apparently the best weapons in the game are flails and axes. So that's what I went with. I don't know if the proficiencies stack if you put one-handed weapons and two weapons, because you're technically dual wielding two one-handed weapons. I don't know if that stacks. I don't think it does. So yeah, that's what I picked. I picked a human fighter who dual wields two weapons, two one-handed weapons, and that was the class I went with. Which my character's name is Overhaul. I named him after Hawkman. Okay, because it's like, because that's the only dual wielding guy I like. Which I wasn't about to play Driss or Drizzt as he's called in the game. Who has a cameo in the game? I couldn't believe that shit. You save him from like a horde of like kobolds, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you and your party saved him from a horde of kobolds. You should know though, when you play the game, which there's like five difficulty settings, right? Like the first one, oh, it doesn't even ask me the. Okay, sorry. I was hoping they would do the difficulty first. So the easiest one is storyline. The second easiest one is easy, and then normal, and you have hardcore, and you have core rules, which follows like the second or third edition of Dungeons & Dragons, which is a Dungeons & Dragons game if you didn't know, set in the Unforgotten Realms setting, which people like. I don't know. I thought it's okay. I didn't think the world design makes a lot of sense, and I was watching Synthetic Man's live stream, and he randomly brings up like Baldur's Gate and how like the Forgotten Realms setting is basically a globalist setting. Oh my god. So I was like, oh my god, that's the exact same thing I thought when I first played Baldur's Gate. Like, this setting makes no fucking sense. Right. Oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, the story for the game is basically you're an orphan who's being raised by this wizard at Candlelit Keep or whatever, Candlelit Keep, and you're forced to leave because there's danger, right? What form does the danger take? A big armored guy voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. At least I think it was Kevin Michael Richardson. It sounded like him. The guy from Family Guy. Who also voices the narrator. Right? And he kills your stepfather or foster father, Gorion, who tells you go to the Friendly Arm Inn where you'll meet two adventurers. And that's basically where the game starts off with you forming a party and going out and having adventures, right? Which when you build your character, you have to pick not only your proficiencies, what class and whatever, but you have to pick your alignment. And based on your alignment, which there's lots of party members in the game, you can't have people from different alignments in your party. Well, you can, but the problem is they'll get in arguments to the point where the people will threaten to leave the party, right? And there's also a morality assessed reputation system where if you're doing shit that pisses off the good or evil members of your party, they'll threaten to leave, which happened to me near the end of the fucking game, where you become outlaws, which I totally forgot that you don't have to kill people in the game. You can just knock them out, which you would probably still lose reputation, but like there was a point in the game where like I was like, ah, fuck it, I'll kill these guys, not knowing that, oh shit, if I did that, my reputation, even though it was super high, it was heroic, it went down to despise. In the same fucking playthrough, I went from having heroic reputation to despise reputation. I was like, how the fuck, what is the meaning of this fucking shit? Yeah, but yeah, the story is basically, the sum it up is basically, the evil crime organization, business group, is basically, oh my god, I summed this up perfectly at work, but basically, they manufacture a crisis and psy up a war so they can make a shitload of money. Only for the main bad guy to, and of course it has. Of course, there has to be fantasy, like, you know, good versus evil bullshit. Is actually up to some shit, right? Is actually up to some shit that is basically world-threatening crisis, and it's up for you and your adventurers to go and get and kill them, kill the bad guys, right? Oh my god, right? Which the game, just like another Bioware game, they rip off Star Wars, which reminded me, and it's funny because like I picked my alignment for my character is chaotic good, which I'm currently reading the Terry Goodkind Sword of Truth series. I'm reading the second book, and the main character is a libertarian type. And I went through the alignment systems, even though I made my character after Hawkman. Like, moral decisions, I went for more of like a Richard Cypher kind of character. Richard Cypher build, okay? Which Richard Cypher is like a libertarian, right? And the chaotic good alignment sounded like something. It sounded like the Richard Cypher build, right? So, and there's a thing. If you read the first book, you know that the villain. There's a Star Wars moment in there. And this game, just like in another Bioware game, Knights of the Old Republic, your character has a relation with the bad guy, right? Which they keep at a certain point in the game. People keep bringing up your bad lineage, right? That you're related to some bad guy, not saying who it was. And my character's like, yeah, like I know that. I fucking missed that shit, and I'm like, when the fuck did that happen? Where where it was revealed that my character was related to some guy, which they don't even name until like the end of the game, where it turns out you're basically like you're basically the son of this bad guy, and the villain in the game is your brother, right? I'm not gonna say who, but if you play the game, you know. So it's like, when the fuck, like, when did they fucking mention that? In one of the dream sequences, which the cutscenes in the game are mostly just dialogue and talking heads, or not even talking heads. Sometimes it's talking heads if they're a companion, right? But it's mostly, so once in a while there's like a slideshow or a slideshow or motion comic cinematics, alright? Which looked okay, but would have been nice if there were more of them. Which I forgot to mention, the game is broken up into 8 chapters, not 6 like Google said there were. So when I got to chapter 7, I'm like, what the fuck, Google? You said there was only 6. And when I Googled it again, it said 8. Motherfucker, the first time I Googled how many chapters in Baldur's Gate, I swear to fucking God, the fucking Google said it was 6. So I was, but like the last 2 chapters are super short. So it's not even till like the end of the game where you actually get to Baldur's Gate City. Most of the time you're going around for the Sword Coast, solving problems like the Iron Crisis, the fucking bandits going around killing everybody, other bullshit, other bullshit. At one point, they were like, oh yeah, there's a fucking dragon in this fucking mine. I'm like, what the fuck? I was at level 2. I'm gonna fight a fucking dragon. Turns out there was no dragon, but a fucking orc mage or orc cleric who was a motherfucker. I grinded for 2 days to beat him, only for it not to fucking happen until I had to switch party members around, which my party members were, see if I can remember off the top of it. I played most of the game with my main character as a fighter, Minsk, who is the crazy bald-headed guy with the fucking hamster, who, despite he put proficiencies in 2 weapons, he wields a 2-handed sword and a longbow. He's a ranger. I have Bradwin, the female cleric, which is also kind of a fighter class. I had Zan, who's like an elf wizard or something, illusionist, or and the Chanter, I can't remember. Nira, the Wild Mage, and I forget the what's her name. This not fuck. I put what was her name? Oh my god. She's basically like. Oh my god, the game auto-saved to the final boss. Oh my god. I'm watching it auto-saved to the fucking final cutscene in the game. Which the final cutscene, the game has a very abrupt ending. I was literally losing that fight because somebody casted a fucking web and all my party members were trapped except for the one mage who was friends with Minsk. And my main character was about to die. He had like literally 2 hit points left, and somehow the main villain dies, despite the fact his henchmen are okay, and the game ends abruptly. There's a cutscene that tells you, hey, the game ends, and then it starts off like Siege of Dragonspear. I was like, what the fuck? Oh my god. Which, you know, yeah, I'm not gonna give tips because like I said, I'm a noob. I'm just gonna go my likes and dislikes because I wanna already play the next game. Which, if there's no pull, the next Western RPG is gonna be Divinity Original Sin, which I figured out how to fix my PS4's disk drive. Basically, I have to pop the lid off so the disc can come out a little bit enough for me to just pull it out. While I have to use the torque screw to make it come out in the first place. But yeah, my likes is open world, quests, lots of character customization, variety of weapons and armors, lots of potential party members, grind friendly Western RPG, which the first Dragon Age was not. There's lots of Western RPGs that are not grind friendly, where you'll run out quests to do, run out of enemies to kill. There's political intrigue, which is pretty cool. There's difficulty slider, voice acting. Now dislikes. Takes too fucking long to level up, which the game's max level is 10. It's not 20 like in standard Dungeons & Dragons. The story is confusing at times. The normal difficulty is too hard. Literally, I had a point where all my main fighters had plate armor, and we'll get into a fight with a pack of wolves, and on normal difficulty, we're getting fucked up by the wolves. How the fuck does that make sense? Not even dire wolves, not even dread wolves. Regular wolves are fucking up my party members, right? In plate armor. That makes no fucking sense. That's not realistic at all. Oh my, that's so fucking dumb, man. And then you put on easier storyline, and like, you're basically one-shotting fucking people. It's insane. Now, part of the fun of the game is the fucking Sailor Moon's my bitch Dara as AI programming. What the fuck? Oh my god, they censored it too. Which is censorship in the game, by the way. Yeah. Introduces too many cabanas late game to the point there's like no point halfway through the game. There's no point in fucking changing up your party members. Even though you add somebody to your party, they will level up to whatever level you're at, but then they won't have the extra experience. Like, you could be halfway through the next level, but they'll just go to the base level that you're at, right? So I could be halfway through level 5. Somebody joins my party, they'll level up to level 5, but you know, that's a huge problem in the game, to the point where people made mods to move people earlier on in the game so you can, you know, form, you know, party members with the really cool shit. Really cool party members, right? The quest journal is vague at times, and you can literally complete a quest, but because you didn't pick up like a fucking scroll or something, or you didn't talk to a party member, it won't show that the quest is finished. You have to make sure you do the whatever the fuck bullshit they want you to do for, you know, for the game to continue. Like, I literally like this, one of the dungeons in the game is like a mine where they want you to flood it, but it's not exactly clear if you have to do it or not. Because my character made a point where somebody asked him to flood it, and my character, one of the chat options was, well, no, there's an iron crisis. We need the iron ore from this fucking, you know, from this mine, right? Because we could be going to war soon because the fucking bad guys are like psyoping us into a fucking war. So my character made a good point of why, yeah, it's not a good idea to flood it. Turns out if you don't fucking flood it, you have to go. You can't advance in the main plot. You'll be allowed to go around and do shit in Baldur's Gate City, which is like the last area of the game. Well, the second to last area of the game, right? But you won't be able to, like, you know, do the mainline story if you don't fucking do that shit. Well, that's fucking bullshit. Lack of cutscenes, cinematics. The game is dated. There's no. A lot of the times when I say game clock, I really mean game timer. There is a game clock in the game. There's a day and night system. But what I really mean is there's no game timer. So I have no idea how long the game actually took me to beat the fucking game. I'm assuming the game, according to how long to beat, it takes roughly 40 hours. That sounds about right to me. Okay, that sounds about right. And there's a very abrupt ending. I already mentioned that. So yeah, the game was a masterpiece back in the day. It was classic, you know, all that shit, right? The game is good. It does hold up. But it has its problems, and the game is dated. So, and I didn't like, there's not enough like character portraits in the game. Like, there should have been more. Like, I pretty much, every time I play the game, I pretty much pick the same fucking character portrait every time. So yeah, the game is good. I recommend playing it. But it has its problems. The game's fucking batshit hard, so you're better off just playing at an easier difficulty. Fuck the hardcores who are gonna like, oh, though you're gonna play the game on storyline, easy, huh? Yeah, whatever. The game's too fucking hard. Okay, like that's a problem with that's my main problem with Western RPG fans. Is like they're like, well, Western RPGs are way better at JRPGs because of the stories, right? But at the same time, they say they love these games because of the story, whatever, when really they love the games because it's so hard, because they can brag about how hard it is. Like, if you're playing a game for the story, why the fuck does it also need to be hard at the same time? That makes no fucking sense. Right? Yeah, so, yeah. 7 out of 10, great game, but has its problems. Alright, guys, that's it for this review. My next game review should be Legend of Dragoon, which I already put 5 hours in. But, you know, my friend Kevin might be playing Fairy Tail soon. And I plan on playing Fairy Tail, you know, at some point. So if he starts live streaming it, I have to watch his live streams because I'm a fan of his show and I'm a mod. So yeah, I'm gonna be basically, if he starts up playing Fairy Tail, I'm gonna start playing up Fairy Tail too. Okay, but that game shouldn't take that long. That game only takes like 40 hours to beat. So yeah. So and I'm playing multiple games at once anyway because, you know, I don't have time in the morning to really play PS1 games. So like games like this or games I could play on modern consoles, I can, you know, play half an hour, 15 minutes at a time. Where in, like, you know, PS1 games, I need at least 2 hours or 3 hours of free time because I don't know when or not I can save, right? Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's no romance. As far as I know, you can't romance party members in this game, but I could be wrong. Who knows, right? So yeah, that's it for this game, guys. Peace. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, leveling up just means hit points increase, and once in a while you'll get proficiency points, and your spellcasters can do more spells, right? That's what. Leveling up doesn't mean increased stats. So yeah, and if you're gonna play, basically depending on what class you pick, you want at least like 18, right? Like if you're a fighter, you want at least 18 strength and 18 constitution, if possible. And you want at least 11 intelligence, depending. Doesn't matter what fucking class you are, because if you port your character to Baldur's Gate 2, there's an enemy called a Mind Flayer that can kill you by lowering your intelligence to 0. So you need at least 11 so you don't die. But if you're playing a wizard or a spellcaster, you want a high intelligence. And if you're gonna play as like evil character, you want high charisma, because people treat you good either by having a high reputation or high charisma. So yeah. So that's it, guys. Peace.